Rust is by far my favorite game. Also, some of my favorite YouTube content is the kind where I can just sit and listen to people talk about something I'm interested in, learning new things about it I didn't know and gaining new perspective. Whether if while I drive, as I doze off to sleep, usually while playing some chill single-player game or whatever, I just like that kind of content. Today, I'll be interviewing Flenser, who owns and runs Rust servers. 2 of his servers are top 10 in Rust metadata, in terms of server population. Today, we will go behind the scenes and look at Rust from a server admin's perspective. We'll learn about how cheaters are identified and caught, we'll learn about the software tools admins use to catch them, and much more. So get yourself situated, load up some game, maybe Rust on a build server, and here we go. So, hey Flenser, how you doing? You good?
Ready to go.
So, before I ask you a bunch of questions about owning, running the server, and about cheating in Rust, would you like to introduce yourself maybe?
Sure. So, people know me as Flenser, but my real name is Steve Jones, and I live in Hanover, Germany, where I was actually born. But I guess that's not the most interesting part. More interesting is that, I've been into hosting and managing game servers since, the age of 16, really. When we did LAN parties, that were the times when people would actually meet like hundreds on one place, and I would be one of the guys providing the infrastructure and the servers, and also looking in and catching cheaters on the tournaments we would be organizing. But yeah, that was quite a while ago. Last year in March, a friend of mine introduced me into Rust, and I was like hooked instantly. Like, you had this whole world which you could explore, but it wasn't like a game which pushes you into one direction, but you had to find your own way how to deal with it, and I loved that. And March last year, I really dug into that. So since then, I've done like 5,000 hours about playing around 3,000 hours and adminning about 2,000 hours. Well, also, doing server administration and stuff. And then I found this server I'm playing on right now, which actually at this point, which I'm owning right now, which is Enjoy.
The EnjoyRust servers, yeah? I'll put a link in the description. Can you tell me a little about those?
Sure. Well, I own and run the server Enjoy Solo Only, Enjoy Solo Duo Only, and Enjoy One Grid. Our Solo and Solo Duo, which have been around for about 4 years now, they usually start off their wipes with about 200 pop, and this stays on peak times down to about 60 just before the wipe. With those pop numbers, the Solo is one of the number one Solo actually worldwide, if you look at battle metrics, and the Solo Duo just is also one of the top 10 community servers.
Wow, 2 top 10 servers in Rust. Nice. And how many people do you have working on the server as admins, moderators?
We're at the moment around 10 admins, and some admins are also looking into the server administration side or the plugin development side.
Okay, so 5k hours in Rust, owning 3 popular servers, 10 admins on staff, sounds legit to me. And also I want to add that I just spent a week as an admin watching how you guys work, the speed and professionalism with which you remove cheaters from your community, and I've even gotten to see how much the community appreciates it in the form of actual donations from players, so now I'd like to get to the meat of this interview. We're going to be talking cheating in Rust, hearing about it from the point of view of a server owner, and I have a few questions prepared. Is that cool?
Sure.
Alright, so the first one is about how common cheating actually is. I think many people have a notion that cheating is overwhelmingly abundant in Rust in particular. As someone with sophisticated tools and refined methods for catching actual cheaters, how common would you say it actually is?
Yeah. So, talking about cheating Rust, we have to firstly see that there are 3 different kinds of cheating in Rust, and we have to ask if each of those are in different proportion to each other if you compare it to maybe other games. So the first part would be the blatant cheating, so that means using software, using anything to give you a very distinct advantage in the game, and this is called aimbotting or jump hacking, or it could be the debug hack where you can leave your body and fly around. So this is code, which hacks into your Rust and uses or misuses the code in a way to give you experience. That's cheating. And then you have rule breaking. You have people who, especially as we're on a solo and then solo do, who like to, they know it's solo only, but they call in their friends and they try to sneakily play together because it gives them an advantage as well in the game, but they're not really cheating like. And then the third portion would be the exploits. So exploiters, so these are people who are not using some technical means, but which have knowledge about the game, which isn't intended for them to know, but they misuse it to, for example, glitch into a rock, or stuff like this, really. So, and if we talk about the first group of blatant cheaters, I don't really think it is comparably more than in other multiplayer games, especially not first-person shooters. But it's obviously Rust is a popular game. So Rust cheat developers are creating more cheats for Rust than maybe for other first-person shooters at the moment. And also the gain you get from these cheats, they feel a bit more, for the user, a bit better than in any other game, So, for example, if you'd compare it to, let's say, Counter-Strike or Valorant or something like that, so a cheat is great as well. I guess I'm not a cheater, so I don't know, but from a professional perspective, which has got a lot to do into putting myself into the minds of others, I'd say, in Valorant, so the round goes 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and you can dominate maybe for 30 minutes, but then it's all over and you start with new guys. It feels great, But Rust is something special because, for example, the vibe goes for 2 weeks, or on some servers for a whole month, And I think this makes cheating in Rust more powerful than in other games. I don't think that it's happening more, but I think the impact it has on others is greater.
Regarding cheating, I want to ask general questions first. Are there any specific patterns you noticed with respect to cheating? For example, more cheating in certain parts of the wipe, or
cheating is something you do because you lack something, or you want to experience something which you don't feel you are able to experience if you don't cheat. And usually, I mean, Rust is about not only surviving, but it's also about dominating the area. It's about staying alive where others fail. And so if you have a look into the first or second day of a wipe, cheating usually doesn't make much sense there, because a cheater he doesn't usually, so there are cheaters who, there's also always some different ones, but from my experience, the vast majority, they want to be where they want to feel quick into they want to feel the power very quick, they want to be like the YouTube, I from a rock to AK full set in 20 minutes. That's what they want. And the best days to get that is like the day 2, maybe late 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 after a wipe, because then you can be sure there are full sets on the server. The bases are not too big yet, but still juicy. So as a cheater, you can hop on within 20, 30 minutes, you can get your full gear set. Another 30 minutes, you have your base up, and your first raid is after 2 hours or something like that,
So in terms of statistics, most of the cheating reports come day 2, 3?
Yeah.
So from your experience, most cheaters don't play the first couple of days of wipe, usually?
I mean, people are like, "Oh, I was in the dark and he shot me. How could he see me?" So this is one thing. For example, yeah, there are two things in Rust which make you feel like you've been cheated on, although you are not. The first thing is that the point of view from your monitor is not in your head, in the head of your player, yeah, of your in-game persona, but it's in your chest actually. So each time you run over a hill, somebody on the other side of the hill who's higher than you, he can see you for seconds until you are able to see him. And this will make you feel cheated very easily because people headshot you very quickly while you were running up a hill or jumping up or something. And you didn't see your opponent, but he already started shooting. And the second thing is, which I mean, also taken from my experience from all the reports we get, is this phenomena of it was perfectly dark. How could he see me? Yeah. And usually in a game, you as a player, you look in front, you look what you see in front, and you see a lot of black because it's the night. Yeah. So you think, oh, I can't be seen either because I can't see. But the perspective from another point of view around you is probably way different. There's maybe a light background. Maybe the moon is coming up behind you. There are lots of possibilities how somebody else can see you, but from a psychological point of view, you think nobody can see me because I can't see anybody. And those are the phases in day 1 and 2 where we get those reports of, hey, how could he know I was here and it was perfectly dark.
Okay, so what is the first thing you do when you get a report?
Well, the thing is, we are getting quite a lot of reports. Obviously, we have on our prime time and pop early in wipe, we've got 180 to 200 players at any time, and so this means over a day we have up to 600 players. Yeah, sometimes up to 1,000 joining the server at some point throughout. So and we're getting not on day 1, but on day late 2 or day 3. On day 3, we get 50 reports about in a per prime time. So our prime time is between 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock and about 11 o'clock. So that's PM, yeah. And that's where we get around 50 reports. That's right. Plus, so those are reports we get in through our reporting system. But on top of that, there is probably another 150 reports we get using the F7 system, because if you F7 report somebody, that goes to FacePunch, but we also get a copy of it. And I look through them, and after a time you get some experience, I check every report on, firstly, is there a name of a player in there which I have read again? Like if I've got 6 reports about the same player from 6 different people, then I'm probably gonna look at this guy. So what I do is I open up my Rust admin, which is just like Battlemetrics. It's an administration tool for Rust servers, and there I'll look at his data. Yeah, I can pull up data about when did he join, how much hours of Rust does he play, has he got a Steam profile, how old is the Steam profile. I get some data about hit distribution, how much headshots do we do, how much, to each body part. I can look a list at who he killed. And then also I have an overview of his combat log. That means I can see what weapons did he use, or how fast was his firing rate, etc., etc. And and then I can also check on other data sources about him. So I can check server armor, I can check other Rust admin bans, or I can check Nexus Online if he has been game banned before. So quickly just gather in all this information to come to a point where I can decide if I'm actually going to spectate him or not. Yeah. So if I get a report about somebody, oh yeah, he didn't see me, or I mean, people who do reports usually are very, very, how you say, they're very sure the other one is cheating. Yeah. Because that's how they feel right now in the second where they create a report. And I'm trying to assess if this is really viable or not. And if I see them from the data, oh, look, this guy's got a kill death rate of, let's say, 0.8 or so. Yeah, I'm like, look, if that guy would be cheating, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have a very low kill death rate out of that.
You said something interesting. Maybe I didn't understand. So
Sure.
is there like a hub where you can check if a player on your server was cheating on another server and got banned somewhere else?
Yes. There are numerous systems which you can check for. So we're using Rust admin. And on Rust admin, when you ban a player, you can share your ban with another server or with all other servers. Yeah. And shows up in my Rust admin when I see this player. So I can check, oh, he's been banned from other Rust admin servers before. And there's usually a little explanation there.
So basically, if you get caught cheating, you get like a criminal record that server admins can see?
The data adds up about you, yeah? And if it's not Rust admin, you got the same about battle metrics, and there are some more unknown system, also to me unknown system, but like share agreements between server owners where they will share their bans. I'm also sharing some of my bans with other server owners I know, and we are exchanging like ban lists just to have another information source on where to look. For example, with other solo server owners, yeah. I like to share a ban list there. So because if some guy cheats on our solo and he gets banned, he's probably going to look for another solo server. Yeah. So it makes sense that we connect about that. The problem now is that this not always helps a lot, because if you're a really dedicated cheater, you just buy a new Steam account and you got a new Steam ID and you've got a fresh account. Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that costs money, so I mean,
not too much, unfortunately. So if you go to I don't know how those sites are called, but G2A I think is one. And you go there and you can buy a Steam account which got probably 300 hours on it. It's maybe 30 days old and got 300 hours on Rust, and Rust is also already on the Steam account. And apparently you can buy this between $5 to $10.
These are hacked accounts?
I don't know. I guess so. They have been bought using an alleged credit card or something like that, and then they're sold off for the money laundering reason.
Yeah, so there's a whole industry of cheating.
The whole cheating is an industry. It's a lot of money for both sides, actually.
Would you like to elaborate?
It's a bit speculation on my side, so don't quote me on that. But the thing is, well, let's talk about the obvious cheat developers, yeah? So those guys are really, really fit devs, yeah? They know their stuff. They can hack into source code of Rust. They can look for the errors, the bugs, the hooks where they can get into. They know where the anti-cheat is looking for, so they can avoid those areas. And then when they find it, they can write a program which hacks into your memory basically to the right point to override some Rust code and give you the option to cheat. So they're really fit developers. And they are selling their cheats. They're not doing that. I mean, it used to be like, I don't know, 20 years ago, you would go to a website and probably buy a cheat for $10 or $15 or whatever to buy it. But nowadays, it's a subscription. Most of those cheat suppliers is a subscription service where you pay 20, 30, 50, up to, I'd say, $80 a month to subscribe to a cheating service. Yeah. And they supply you with constant updates so you don't get identified. And they probably got a few hundred subscribers, maybe a few thousand even. And, yeah, it's a business. And I mean, also on the other side, I mean, all those Rust accounts getting bought, the money goes to Facepunch as well. Yeah, so I'm Facepunch isn't in this at all. I'm not implying that, but
Definitely not.
there's a lot of money involved.
All right. So let's get back to the steps that admins take to actually catch cheaters and ban them. So you said the first step is just sifting through the information, getting information from other servers, other server admins as well. So each cheater maybe has like a profile of him already. So after you get a report that seems credible, what do you do then? What's the next step?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm trying to identify which kind of cheat I'm looking for. Yeah. So for example, I'm looking at what's in the reports. Is it about players complaining that this guy knew where they were? So something which we call ESP hacking. Or I look at his kill death rate, and I look at his combat data. And then I see, oh, look, he's got a lot of headshots, or he's hitting people in a very very long distances or so. So this gives me a hint of what I'm looking for. Then I also look through our tools we got on Discord. Yeah.
Actually, yeah. Could you tell us a bit about the technical tools you have at your disposal for finding cheats, catching cheaters?
Yes, sure. So besides the Rust admin I've already talked about, which gives us a lot of insight into the game data, the combat data, etc., etc., we have a set of tools of plugins which are installed and which try to bait cheaters into falling for the trap, or also notify us of some weird stuff happening.
Such as?
Yeah, for example, we've got the stash traps. Yeah, and this is a very known plugin. I'd say every server has this. And what it does, it buries stashes all around your map, and it redistributes those stashes on a timely basis every 2 hours, something like that. And a cheater who's using ESP, he will see those stashes, yeah. And usually, when a cheater starts off fresh on a beach, he's like, "Oh, there's a stash. Let's get some loot," yeah. And then he finds, "Oh, there's another stash," and we will get some messages into our Discord that a player has found a stash trap, yeah. And if he's found more than 3 stash traps in a very short time, then we are 100% sure he must be cheating, and we ban him immediately. That's one of the tools we're using. This stash trap also gives us information if one player has found a stash of another player, because we found out that some more clever cheaters, they identify the stash traps, and they are going for stashes which look more like user played stashes. And then this tool will also say us, hey, user or player 1 has found a stash of player 2. And if this player 1 finds stashes of other players all the time, then this is also a pretty good giveaway that he's cheating, and we will ban him immediately.
Extremely clever. What else do you have?
We've got Radar. So Radar is, I think everybody heard of it. So as an admin, I can see where all the players in my view, in my field of view are, and I can see where they are looking at. I can see what guns they got on them, etc., etc. So I would probably follow a player while he's roaming, and I will look, hey, where is he looking at? So, for example, if he's in a monument or so, and I see him running towards a player which he shouldn't be able to see, then I have to also answer the question, did he hear him maybe? Were there shots fired before? Is he running there by chance? Is it just luck that he's running into the same direction? Yeah. So I would look for those situations to happen multiple times before I come to the conclusion, this guy can only do what he does because he's got more information about his surroundings than he should have.
I see. So you can track a player's perspective and see where he's looking, and if he's looking at players he shouldn't be seeing. Got it. Anything more?
Yes, we've got Arcan. So Arcan is a very known tool as well. Every time you shoot a weapon, it measures the angle you held your weapon, the pixel you were looking at and aiming towards, and then it calculates the distance between those points, and it looks for hints that you were using some kind of recoil assisting or some kind of scripts to cancel out the recoil, and it will give us a list of recoil angles, projectile IDs, and the fire interval. And from that, we have to assess if this is a legit way to shoot a weapon, or if you're probably using a script to fire this weapon. But hold on, there's more. We've got a so-called ESP detector. So what that does, it looks, it checks who you are looking at as a player, if this player is visible to you, and if you're following his movement behind an invisible in an invisible state, for example, behind a wall or something like that. And if you're looking at a player for a prolonged time and following his movements, although you can't see him, then it will also give us a message, and it will also automatically record a demo from your point of view so that we can review this demo later on and see if this tool has actually identified an ESP user or not.
So, in effect, these tools automatically generate reliable cheater reports and even send you video evidence, yeah, automatically?
Yes, absolutely. We use this in some of our plugins, also rule-keeping plugins, for example, to make sure that everybody is playing solo on our servers. And one thing, if you, for example, jump into a heli to go to small oil with your friend, it's gonna give us a message, and it's gonna start a recording of a demo so we can review it later and see what you were up to.
I like that it even records videos for you.
The data we see, it gives us a hint and some data, but to see some people in game actually breaking the rules or cheating, this is where you can always say, okay, this is very easy to ban. So we're looking for that.
Okay, and with respect to let's say blatant cheating, would you say that there is any tool that gives you an absolute clear indication that the person is cheating, or do you have to use like an array of tools usually?
Well, yes, usually it's an array of tools. It's always a gathering of hints, a gathering of information about a player before we go in-game and then actually identify it. There are some exceptions. For example, Arcan can also identify aimbots, yeah? And if it gives us an aimbot probability of 100%, we are very sure that this user is using an aimbot. But in 8 out of 10 cases, we have to gather all the different sources like ESP, like Arcan, like stash traps, and from that on, create a profile about the player and then decide to watch him in game to get him banned.
So when you say in 8 out of 10 cases, do you mean that cheaters in Rust now are more sophisticated, more subtle?
So let's say like 20% of the cheaters, they are clever, and the chance that they will get caught from all the tools I have is very low, especially using recoil scripting is extremely hard with the tools I got to watch. Yeah. But the other ones, I don't want to say dumb or stupid, but they are just careless. Yeah. They don't do their research. They don't look how they're going to be spotted, and they just want to go have fun. So they start off the cheat, they go into Rust, and then they just join a random server and start hacking away because they like the feeling. And those are easy to spot.
So there's an ethical question here, sort of. Do you think it's wise to even speak about these things in public, the methods admins use to catch cheaters? Because people could say that this gives warning to the cheaters, to the cheat makers. What do you think about that?
So cheat developers, they are usually, the kids in the core who do that, which aren't probably many, maybe there are, I don't know, 100 worldwide who are really invested into creating cheats. But those are real hackers. Yeah, they know the code. They can decompile all the Rust stuff. They go through all the changes and they find the hooks and the errors where they can finger into to inject the code of their cheat. And they are miles, in my opinion, they are miles ahead of everything we say about how to identify a cheat as well. Yeah, it's not a matter if they could hide the cheat before our eyes. It's just a matter if they want to do that or not. Yeah, I think it doesn't change. Being trying to hide how we're identifying cheaters doesn't change a bit about how those cheat developers are going to develop their cheats.
Basically, because you're saying they already know all the tools you have.
They know the tools we have, and well, there are probably servers, the very big servers, so they've got their own coders and invested into a battle against cheaters, and they probably have their own tools, which I don't know about. But for 80% of all the server owners like me, yeah, which have some pretty good working servers, but which are not like living off it, yeah, and the tools we have, they are very well known. And in the cheats those guys are creating, they will put in options to try to defer our systems to identify cheatings. For example, if you create a script for recoil cancellation, you will put in, as a cheat developer, you will put in some randomization, yeah, because you know what happens with Arkin, how he measures stuff, and you will put in some randomization so that guys like me will not be so sure about what he's looking at in the numbers and if this guy is really using a recoil script or not.
Okay, so what can you do when people use higher grade, more expensive cheats and are extra careful?
I'm looking for the numbers, not the 10% of cheaters which are very hard to catch in the first place, or which you will never catch. But I'm looking to aiming to the 80% of the cheaters who can be catched by this and taken out of the game.
True. I mean, 80% less cheating on the server is pretty good. Okay, this is an interesting one. So from your experience as an admin, what's the ratio of cheating reports to actual caught cheaters? Is cheating really as big a problem as people say?
I would say about 5 to 10% maximum, maybe 7. Something about
really that low.
Yeah, because so as I just said in the beginning, yeah, Rust makes you feel being cheated on all the time, right? Because you just got this loot, how could he see you, etc., etc. Yeah, so I think it's 5 to 10%. This could be very different on other servers, but on our servers, I'd say that's about the quota.
So in the process of catching a cheater, first you get the report, you look at that, then you look at the data from plugins, then you go spectate the person. How long would you say, on average, it takes to actually verify a cheater? And I just want people to understand that admins are putting in the hours, just like every Rust player.
It's hard to have a general rule for this, but I would say from my gut feeling, it's about 20 to 30 minutes for the more obvious cheaters. Yeah, it's for the very obvious cheaters, maybe 5 minutes to 7 or 10. For the general, it's so the median is about 20 to 30 minutes. And some people we're following around for days and days and days. Happens as well.
So Rust admins actually do a lot of work.
It's a lot of time you got to spend. And that's why it is so important to go through the reports and decide where you want to allocate your time to. Yeah, because while you are watching some guy in a base smelting his ores, there could be 3 guys blatantly hacking just around you. Yeah.
All right. So we're probably going to close with, do you have any especially memorable admin moments, so to speak? Funny stories of confronting cheaters, etc.?
Well, there are two differences. So there's this guy who uses some kind of cheat I've never seen, but is really hilarious. Like this guy was shooting arrows with his bow, like 10 per second, going like pew 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 pew. I've never seen something like that. Yeah, and if you see this the first time ever, it just looks so funny because the body is all distorted, and I mean it's obviously cheating, but then you think, man, I mean everybody can see he's cheating, yeah. So he gets booted like 10 minutes after he joined the server. But that looks funny. And then also people who like in-game, yeah, they go on voice, yeah. And if you confront them, I usually don't try to interact with cheaters too much. But if you confront them, then yeah, they're gonna be like telling you a funny story actually about, yeah, sorry, my cat went on my keyboard and that made me see that guy through this wall somehow. Or I had one guy who said, yeah, I spilled water over my keyboard and then my graphics glitched and I could see all the guys around me. Something like that, yeah, which is really stupid. And then the other kind of thing of stories is it's always, it's kind of, it makes you think when you identify and ban a player with a lot of hours. So we had, I think the record ban I did was on a player which had 10,000 hours in Rust, yeah. And he got a face punch game ban like 10 minutes after I banned him from my server. So that makes you think, yeah. I mean, he wasn't a bad player. He's doing this for 10,000 hours. He's got a full Steam account. So this is because this is very important. Most cheaters, they know they're cheating. They know they will be getting caught earlier sooner. They buy a fresh account. So you look at their Steam, maybe it's hidden. You ask them to make it unhidden, so public, so you can look at it. And then you see there's like 2 games. It's Rust and it will be Counter-Strike Go, yeah? And it will be a level 1 account. So this is all very suspicious. Like, how can you be so good in Rust if you just played it for like 70 hours? But then to identify a cheater who gets game banned, who's got like 10,000 hours of Rust, yeah, that makes you think of why? At what point do you decide to go this way of playing this game and cheating? Yeah.
By the way, do you remember how you identified that person as a cheater?
Yep. That was one of the guys I was looking at for many hours, actually, because he was always borderline. He hit some Arkans, but within a kind of acceptable range of recoil angles, but still on the verge. And he was running around a lot, but it was always, I had for a long time, I was watching, I was feeling, you have this blip where you think, how could he ever run into this direction, into the perfect position? How did he know how to turn left now and not right? Yeah. But it's like, well, it could be luck at the end of the day still, or it could be his experience, which say, oh, I know there will be campers to the left or to the right, because they usually are. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I had too many they add up, those situations. And with him, I have to say, I don't have this one video where I say this is 100% proof. I just have like 20 videos of him where it says, that looks funny. It just looks funny. And I've got 20 of them. And at some point you got to decide it's enough. Yeah. So even if I'm not 100% sure this guy is cheating, I still have to accept that he is a risk to my server and my community, which I'm not anymore willing to take. And as an admin, so this moment is like, it goes to your gut, because he's been playing your server for a long time. He will come to your reports. He will try to appeal. He maybe goes to your general channel and he's like, how could you ban me? I've never cheated, blah, blah. And this is, for me personally, it's a shitty feeling. Yeah. If you ban somebody And he's coming back and he's like, well, I've never cheated, because it makes you doubt yourself. Yeah. And I think this doubt is a very good thing for an admin, to doubt your actions. On the one hand, it is because it reminds you that you're not the god-like admin, and whatever you do is justice, etc. But you're just a guy looking another guy from a game, and from that deciding if he cheats or not. But then again, you also need the confidence to say, well, I have to make actions, and I have to live with the consequences of my actions. And that might even be that I just banned somebody who was not cheating at all, but I thought he did. And then if you get the message from Facepunch, that guy was game banned like 10 minutes after, you're very happy. You're like, oh my God, I knew it. Yeah. I'm so happy that I didn't do the wrong decision.
Flenser, I think that story perfectly encapsulates the work of a competent Rust administrator. And I think it also attests to the quality of the Enjoy servers, perhaps going some way to explain their top 10 status. So thank you so much again, Flenser. I hope we get to do this again soon.
Well, thank you, GameLightz. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.